Welcome to the Freely Rooted Mama podcast. Where I am their mother, I make the choice. Happy Thursday. Hello, mamas. Welcome back to another episode. Excited to have you guys here with me. Before I jump into today's topic, if you didn't listen to the episode where I kind of gave a life update on, what's going on in our life, which, by all means, if you didn't listen, no worries. But on that episode, I made an announcement about a project that I'm working on, which is this out-of-the-box motherhood course that I'm putting together on topics from anywhere from like conception to pregnancy to postpartum to birth to motherhood. And I'm talking to amazing experts and having them answer questions that so many of you guys have DM'd me about. So that being said, I'm so excited about the course. And as I continue to get questions, I will continue to bring on experts and make videos and content that are in this more long form way and put them into that course. So if you want to be notified of when that course goes live, or depending on when you're listening to this, maybe it already is live, you can opt into my email newsletter, and then that's the easiest way to get updates on as to what's going on. So I'll put a link in the show notes. If you just want to go join there, you can join the Out of the Box Mama Club and you'll get updates on that. So just wanted to throw that out there before I hop in today in case you didn't know that I'm working on this very cool project. That being said, today's episode was kind of sparked from a conversation that I had with a girlfriend where we were talking about the concept of baby books. And, I have my baby book from when I was a kid. My mom did such an amazing job on it. You can definitely tell, though, if you put me and my brothers, all of our baby books together, that there's a difference between the amount of time that you have when you have one child versus, 2 or 3, because I was the firstborn. But there's so much detail and there's so many fun little memories and things that she wrote in there. I mean, she did such an amazing job, to the point where I've felt very guilty about the amount of work I put into my kids' baby books. And I bought like a baby book off Etsy. It's super cute, both for Isaac and for Isla. Isaac has some stuff filled out and Isla has a tiny, tiny bit, but that's about it. I just it's so hard to find time to sit down and write all this stuff out. So I decided about, maybe 8 months ago that I was going to do something a little different for their baby books. So I'm going to take pages out of their baby book that have like their footprints, or maybe like the information about when they were born, or like who showed up to your baby shower. Like maybe I'll take a couple pages out of it and put it in my new version of a baby book, but that's about it. So what is my version? Well, if you're listening to me on a podcast, you can't see it, but I brought Isaac's here. So I just got like a big scrapbooking photo album book. And then in it, I have pages. And so the way I'm doing this, or the way I've done both Isaac's and Isla so far, is I'm doing it through each year of their life. But I think eventually I will probably just switch to doing calendar years because it's a little easier. And then what I've done is you can see right here for Isaac, I did like birth to year 1. And then I put the dates October 20th to 22nd. And then what I'm going to do on the back of this is write like all the information out that, for year 1, I'm going to write like the day he was born, his birth weight, blah, 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 blah. I may write like what his words were that he was saying, or like what his favorite, how like kids do, like, what do you want to be when you grow up? Or what's your favorite color? Like I'll write all of that on the back of their yearly, their yearly slot. I don't know what I want to call this. Their yearly page. And then after it is just pictures. So I have printed off pictures throughout Isaac's whole first year. And I did like when I was pregnant with him too, just so that he has those. And I've done 4x6s and 4x4s because on Shutterfly, you can get free 4x4s and 4x6s. All you have to do is pay for shipping. So what I do every quarter is I just sit down and I go through all the photos for the last 3 months and I upload my favorites to Shutterfly, and then I do a bulk order, and it's usually it's about 100 photos between Isaac and Isla. And I'll do some of them in 4x4s because you can fit more onto a page here in this, it's not a scrapbook, but the scrapbooking slots, you can fit more. And then I'll print some in 4x6s. And so that's what we're doing for their baby books. And I love it because Isaac's already started to grab his book and he'll go through it and just look at photos and say who people are. And I just think it's a fun way to, I mean, moms, we take 8 million photos in a day. And if you're not a mom yet and you're expecting, just be prepared. Like, make sure you increase the storage on your phone because you're going to take a gazillion photos and videos and you're not going to ever want to delete one of them. So I just think it's a fun way to kind of, I'm all about doing things old school. I love handwritten things, but I just don't have time to sit and write. And that could be an excuse. I mean, I could make time, but just with our life, it's not conducive. So I can handwrite like what I said, what his birth weight was. Here's like his favorite book or his favorite colors, favorite animal. I can handwrite that on the one sheet that kind of summarizes the year. Other thing that I've done, and I still do, so you could use this as well, is when I was pregnant with Isaac, I started like a Google Doc journal. I know you're like, a Google Doc journal? Seriously? Again, like I love handwritten things, but I can type very fast. I'm very good on a computer. So for me, it's so much easier to type my feelings and my thoughts and what's happening. I can just do it so much faster than handwriting it. So when I was pregnant with Isaac, I started a Google Doc named Isaac. And I just kind of gave updates every couple of days as to what was going on, or if I felt him kick, or here's how I was feeling, or as he was born, like I gave his birth story, which I mean, now I have as a podcast episode as well, but I just kind of did milestones through the days. And I would say about 6-7 months in, it got not every couple days. It got a lot more sporadic. In fact, there were months where I didn't do it at all. So what I've done now that I have Isla here too is I really do love it. I love this idea of just kind of giving them a monthly reflection as to like what was happening in our life. Like, a couple months ago, we had a house fire, or like when we didn't have a house fire, we had a fire around our house where we had to evacuate. And what was that like to like think about all the things that you possess and having to choose like what goes into your car. I just wanted to reflect on what that was like being a parent and having babies. And they're obviously not going to remember it. Well, at least consciously, they're not going to remember it. So I have an alert in my phone for uploading pictures every 3 months and printing them off, because before you know it, 6 months has gone by and you haven't done any of them. And then that feels very overwhelming. So I have an alert in my phone every 3 months, upload photos and order them. And then I have an alert in my phone every month to sit down and just type out on Isla's document and Isaac's document, just a little update as to our life and a little update about them. And it's a great spot too to like put, just little summaries as to what they've done that month. Like Isaac did swim lessons and he loved it, or we got goats, or we went on a trip, or whatever it is. And then when they're older, I mean, I can either print that off when they're like 18 and they'll have a summary of like their entire life that they can go through if they wanted, or I can share it to their email and they'll always have it digitally to look at. So those are kind of my two methods for doing my version of a baby book, you can say. And it's, like I said, it's definitely not old school. I love the old school version. And it just FYI, like in here, I have a slot for like his first haircut. Like that's in here. Any important document you can still put into this scrapbook. It's not a scrapbook because I'm not scrapbooking, but this like photo album, you can put a slot in there for like their first haircut, or if you wanted to do their first tooth lost or any of that. But I just think it's so much easier, and kids love photos, and it's really fun to reflect every 3 months on like how much your babies have grown, and just to kind of get permission to sit down for a little bit and relook at all those photos. So I hope that's helpful in some way. If you're feeling guilty about not having time to sit down and write in a baby book, this could be a great alternative way to help get rid, and don't feel guilty. I mean, I'm not one to speak because of course I feel guilty as well, but do what you can in the season that you're in. And all that's important is that your babies know that you love them. Ultimately, at the end of the day, you sitting down and writing in a baby book does not prove your love for them. So let that guilt go if you are having that guilt. And we all take a million pictures. So I just think this is the easiest way. And it's the cheapest way because, again, all you're doing is paying for shipping on Shutterfly, which is super great that they have this option. You can only order 100 at a time. But then that's probably good because it limits you to like how many photos you can choose. I would say that Isaac has a lot of photos in his year one. So it's like, how do you just choose only a couple? But anyways, I'll stop rambling. I hope that's helpful. I hope you guys have a beautiful week, and we'll see you next week.